This time on PedalBox, we're at Rustival. This is the third instalment. We missed the second one, but it has been sorely missed off the calendar. So we've managed to make it up, and no, unfortunately, the GTO did not make it. There's another video coming after this one next week where we'll go through some of the reasons why. So Rustival is a fantastic show. There's something like 850 cars that have come down to the British Motor Museum at Gaydon at the JLR headquarters, and the museum is obviously behind us, and there is a huge variety of things here. Stuff all the way back to the 1930s. Most things, I'll be brutally honest, are late 70s, 80s, a lot of 90s stuff, all the way up to even the modern stuff which we might have brought along instead of the GTO, as I mentioned, because it didn't make it, but more on that in another video. So we're going to take a quick walk around down into this section of the show, around by the stage, and everybody down there, have a look at some things hopefully that we didn't see last time, and cover some different cars, and then try and get around the top section before people start leaving.
First up, we have what may be the cleanest AX I've ever seen, but this isn't just a normal AX, this is the GT version. These are equipped with a single, double-barrel carb and followed on from the limited-run AX Sport, the first performance AX Citroën ever built. While it makes 10 less horsepower than the Sport, thanks to still weighing basically nothing, a mere 720 kilos, this mass-produced hot AX has a power-to-weight ratio comparable to a 16-valve Golf GTI of the same year at around 118 horsepower per tonne. A mere 22 of these are still registered as of writing, but that's still double digits compared to the rarest car we looked at on the day. The B7 RS4 was something of a radical departure from its predecessor. The new version was a non-turbo, a V8 instead of a V6, and available not only as a saloon, as seen here, but also as a cabrio, and of course the ubiquitous estate. That V8 was also vastly different from the one found in the B6 S4, which was a 40-valve unit. The B7 had 4 instead of 5 valves per cylinder and had direct injection, and by many accounts doesn't have the same timing chain time bomb issues that plagued the B6. The Sierra changed the entire landscape of UK car design when it arrived in 1982 with the jelly mould styling sitting in sharp contrast to the Cortina and every other car on the road in the segment, which used a traditional 3-box design. At launch, the XR4i was the sports trim, optioned similarly to the Ghia and using the same flat nose, although this was adopted by all but the base model in 1985. It also came with a twin-plane spoiler unique to the XR4i and bore out the XR 4x4 that was ultimately superseded by the Sierra RS Cosworth once we got to the second generation. The BX has a dedicated cult following, and Kitch from Up and Down brought his 16-valve BX to Rustival, which he's now owned for over 20 years. Whilst under his care, this BX was on the Used Car Roadshow with Jason Dorr and Penny Mallory, but this isn't the only BX he's had. Another Rustival regular BX, now owned by David at Indecisive Auto, was formerly owned by Kitch, and there's plenty of BX videos and more on both their channels. Check the links out below.
So parked right up next to us in Creator Parking is Jake, and his channel is Fuel Power, and you have, what, 3 projects, including this beautiful Megane?
Yeah, something like that. So my current 3 projects are obviously the Megane that's here today, a Rover Mini from 1991 and a Sinclair C5. So a bit of a variety there, to say the least.
That's quite the gambit of different things. I mean, even the Mini isn't that old by comparison to some Minis.
Really.
It's quite a modern example of it. But you've had this Megane for what, 11 years, did you say, thereabouts?
Yeah, so personally I've had this car since I was a learner driver in December 2013. But it's been in my family since brand new in 1999. We got it in January 99.
It's amazing.
It's been around all this time. I was about 2 years old when we got the car, so it's been a firm part of my life since then. It's
amazing, and it's nice to keep it in the family and keep it going. You were saying it's what, 100 and something thousand miles?
Yeah, it's on about 165,000 miles now, something like that.
So for 26 years old, it's not actually done that many miles, realistically.
Nope.
It's not even average 10,000 a year, but
not really, no. But
and no major problems in that time, although you had to get an axle brought over by somebody.
Yeah, so it's quite well documented on my channel, the problems that I've had with this car. So mechanically and electronically it's been fine.
Which is amazing for a French car.
In the entire time I've had it, yes, you know, it breaks the stereotype, as it were.
Yeah.
But the one big problem I have had with it is, whilst I was towing my little tiny caravan that I've recently actually moved on to a new home, the rear axle decided, you know what, I've had enough being a rear axle, I want to be on the floor, I want to slam. So yeah, trying to get a new axle for this turns out here in the UK practically impossible.
Which I'm genuinely surprised by. I wouldn't have thought something this old but also this new would still be that difficult to get something for.
Yeah.
Either brand new or refurbished or eBay or a scrapyard or anything like that. And yet...
Yeah, the problem is these really don't come up that frequently in a scrapyard.
Yeah.
I know of one fairly recently by another YouTuber out there who's bought one from a scrapyard and got it all working again, so that's a good project, and obviously great from the Megane saloon point of view. Bear in mind, I know
because this isn't the common hatchback, this is the saloon. This is not that often you actually see the saloon variants kicking around.
No, exactly. You can get the axles for the Scenic here in the UK quite easily and readily, but the problem is they don't work with these cars because it's about a 30mm wider track on those, which sounds tiny.
Oh, the Scenic is 30 wider than this? Brilliant.
So
perfect.
It would, mechanically it would still fit, but you've got a wider track and that means you have to roll the arches and a lot more work's involved. So
it's a lot more faff than just out, in, I'm running again.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I'll keep the story brief so that we're not rambling on too long, because I can go on all day about this. But trying to find a new axle, really struggled for quite some time with this. Eventually found one from a company in Poland that was fully refurbished, brand new internals.
Which is exactly what you want.
Which is exactly, yep, that's it. So old one, it's gone, it's rubbish, it doesn't work. But yep, new one. However, because of political reasons, it wouldn't be shipped to the UK.
Yeah, politely declined.
Yes.
We love your business, but no.
However, through the car scene, and not necessarily through YouTube, but just cars, love of cars, etc., there's always people out there who are willing to help. And as I say, because of political reasons, we couldn't get it delivered to the UK. However, it could be delivered to a friend of mine in Germany. And he happened to be coming over in about a month or so on from when I found this axle. So I sent him a lovely message. Hello, can I be cheeky and ask you if you can bring this thing with you? Yes, absolutely, that's fine. He brought it over and eventually I got it fitted to the car.
Not quite unusual. Could you bring this box of chocolates or this delicacy that I can't get anywhere else? No. Could you bring me an axle, please?
No. Could you bring me some genuine, authentic German beer? Yes, I can bring you that as well as an axle.
And a French axle from Poland. Yeah, perfect. So, well, I mean, it's still on the road. It's obviously still doing really well. It is doing exactly what you want it to do as a nice old classic, particularly as a family heirloom. So
exactly, yeah.
It's good to see that it's still being used. It's not going to be left to languish. So thanks very much for bringing it down.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you
and
very
much.
much.
Make sure you check out the channel and subscribe. Links should be down below, or there'll be a card up top, one or other, depending on what I remember to do.
Lawrie's a long-time friend of PedalBox, and he arrived to Rustival with a few of his many mechanical marvels in tow, including one he picked up roundabout on the way here. This three-wheel tractor-esque, somewhat homebrew contraption has a single-cylinder JAP engine and is belt-driven with an idler pulley clutch mechanism underneath the main drive pulley. It drove off the trailer and promptly released the cable from the accelerator pedal, which between Lawrie and I, we managed to get fixed with what tools he could scrape together, so that it would drive back on the trailer at the end of the day and make life a little bit easier. The rope pull start is a little temperamental, but it does seem happy enough once it gets going. Lawrie also brought along Humpty, a 1500 weight liner Rough Rider with a single 659cc diesel engine, which has probably now travelled as many miles to and from shows as it has driven under its own power since the 70s. Still going strong, in need of a few patches to the bucket, for £50 it's still an absolute bargain for a working piece of machinery. We also tagged this many years ago with a PedalBox sticker underneath the engine cover, and upon closer inspection, it's still there. The endurance testing of our merch continues. Daewoo entered the UK car market in 1995, and the Espero was their family offering to compete with the Cavalier, the Mondeo, and other mid-size cars. It could be fairly well equipped even with the entry-level GLXi getting air conditioning and electric windows, albeit with a smaller 90 horsepower 1.5 litre than we have here. This CDI sits in the middle of the 3 trim option range and has the optional alloy wheels fitted, and above this was the CDXi, featuring a 2 litre 105 horsepower engine and a 6 CD changer as standard. Together with a huge after-sales package of warranties and free servicing on all their cars, Daewoo managed to get 1% of the new car sales market in 1996. There are only 4 CDIs on the road from a peak of 7,400 in 1999, and of the 3 trims this is the most common, with 2 CDXIs and only a single entry-level GLXi left driving around. The second gen MR2 went through 5 iterations through its lifespan, and this Rev 5 has some extensive mechanical work done to overhaul the 3S GE in the last 5 years. With that sorted, there's cosmetic work planned after some well-earned enjoyment of this rebuilt, reliable car. I know a few people who have had MR2s, and beyond the usual tribulations of a near 30-year-old sports car, they all seem to love them. I definitely need to try one at some point. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The 900 is one of the very, very few cars which can not only pull off 3-spoke wheels, but looks best with them, and to fit anything else just looks wrong. I'm not sure if these are the stock fitment, but from the front they fit the arches perfectly, even with the extra flare and all. It just works. This 16 valve looks immaculate despite having covered over 210,000 miles. It's clearly been extremely well looked after and probably has plenty more life in it.
So parked up on our other side is Leane from Whiteland Restorations, who has brought down their immaculate 330 Club Sport. This is so nice. We took one of these to the Nürburgring many years ago, before I was doing YouTube, and it was great fun. Slightly outclassed by the M3 we had on the same trip, but these are so nice. And you've had loads of comments about this. People going,
people love this.
Yeah,
they do.
It's wild.
It is such a good car. The drive experience is amazing.
They drive so nicely. The engine is great. It's just
it's got the comfort. It's got the power. It's got the look.
Yeah,
it's such a well-rounded car.
They are so lovely, and I'm not jealous at all. But the E46 is my favourite 3 Series, and even saying that, I love an E30, but having done a lot of ring trips in E46s, kind of have a bit of a soft spot, including the fact that we have a centre air vent on our project car because it was perfect, we thought at the time. It wasn't quite, but anyway. So how long did you haven't had this all that long compared to some of your other projects, have you?
No. I'll tell you what happened. Okay, we bought, I think it was either before or just after Christmas. We were, browsing Facebook Marketplace, as you do. And this popped up, and it was a good price, and it was good mileage and good service history. And I said to Lewis, look, I don't want to buy another project. I want to buy a car that we can just drive and enjoy, and this looks like the one. This looks like a perfect car. You can drive it and enjoy it.
And it took how long to turn into a project?
A week.
A week. Brilliant. Yeah. Excellent.
It turns out the head gasket had gone, and it had been filled with rad weld.
Oh.
Yes.
So that was what? Full engine of parts. Everything down to nut and bolt in the engine,
basically. Nut and bolt engine rebuild. God. Yeah. And of course we did other things while we were in there.
While you're in there,
Yeah. It's all mechanically 100%. Obviously, we would like to redo the paintwork soon. It's a gorgeous colour blue. We'll be keeping the blue, but it's got the usual E46. There's a couple of scabby bits here and there.
It's doing the usual suffering of an E46 from the early 2000s.
Yeah, paintwork. We love doing paintwork.
Yes, it is pretty much what you do.
Our favourite.
So if you haven't seen Whiteland Restorations before, they have a beautiful body shop and do fantastic work over Wales. You're far West Wales, aren't you?
Darkest Wales.
Deepest, darkest Wales. And you've had quite a few projects that you brought here. I saw the Volvo the first time on Rustival, and we had it on the channel.
Yeah, we brought the Volvo 240 and the E30 as well.
Yeah.
Gorgeous cars.
Yes.
We do love those. Those are our favourites.
So I'd hopefully try and pop over at some point and go through some of your fleet of projects sometime in the future.
Come and poke around in the workshop.
Yeah,
see
definitely.
What we can find. Yes.
So thanks very much for bringing this down. We will hopefully see you at the next Rustival, if not before.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
This E-Type seems to be a bit of an anomaly. Registered right at the very end of 1976, 2 years after the Series 3 production came to an end, but more resembles a Series 1. The glass headlight covers were removed for the Series 2 and 3 due to the changing US regulations, and another dead giveaway at the rear of the car is the bumper wraps all the way round on the Series 2 and 3, whereas the Series 1, as we have here, splits in the middle for the number plate. The first generation Mondeo underwent one of the more extreme mid-cycle facelifts, after which the only panels left untouched were the roof, doors, and the estate rear quarter panels. This combat the bland styling complained about in many of the reviews, but this expense meant some previously standard equipment was now optional, including aircon and alloy wheels. It's hard to believe that the GT86 is 13 years old. Even wearing a 15 plate as it is here feels wrong at first glance. Surely it can't be that long ago, it must be a much younger car. But alas, it is, and it's even been 4.5 years since they called time on the production. As much as people had some really strong opinions about the underpinnings being a Subaru and the subsequent BMW-based Supra, re-entering a market segment is a big risk. But they're both good, fun cars, which is what really matters. Maybe the next-gen Supra and possibly the promised Celica might be in-house as they once were. The humble Polo bread van. I wanted to do something with one of these for years, I'm just not 100% decided on what that might be. Maybe it's the tiny estate carness that calls to me and that demands for a roll cage and an engine swap and to be made into something much more extreme, but I really like these. Either way, this one looks far too good to modify. I couldn't bring myself to do anything but leave it exactly how it is, especially in this seemingly very uncommon dark blue paint. I'm going to come back to the wheels because they deserve more attention, but I can't recall actually seeing one of these in the flesh before. The pinched grille at the front looks really good, even with the round sealed beam units, installed I suspect to comply with US regulations. I love a full glass boot just like the 944 has, so this really appeals to me, right up until I'd have to source another one of course. But those wheels, I had questions. These were made by Yamaco Industries under French designer André Courrèges and came in 2 colour combinations, pink and blue as seen here, and red and blue, and have matching caps, 2 in each colour to cover up the bolts. These are unbelievably rare though, and I can't really say I'm surprised. These aren't the only wheels this partnership came up with. Some of them are even more rare again, and these weirdly are some of the more common ones despite being so unbelievably rare.
So I'm here with Adrian Clarke at the very end of Rustival. The rain is just starting to come down as forecast and it is very blowy, so I'll apologise for the sound quality that you may be suffering through. But Adrian writes for the Autopian and has a Roidus. You might have seen it posted about on the Autopian if you've been reading it. He has a good history as a car designer, and at some point I'm going to ask him for his critique on our design in very loose terms. But you've had this monstrosity, this problem
that's
child,
charitable, yeah.
for how many weeks?
Probably about 10 or 12 weeks now.
And you got this as part of sort of an article, kind of a running thing for the Autopian.
Yeah, so the idea was it was part of a membership drive because we're a membership supported website.
Of which I am also a member. You should also be too, because they're great.
So my editor, Matt Hardigree, who you may know, suggested a Rodius, and I was absolutely against the idea. I was any car apart from that, but he insisted it had to be a Rodius.
But it has such great lines.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then the idea was, so we was going to buy it. If we hit a certain membership target, we would buy it.
Yeah.
And then it would be a staff car for the Goodwood Festival of Speed because some of the guys, our co-founder Bo and Jason, came over for Goodwood Festival of Speed back in July. So this was kind of going to be our taxi.
Excuse the brief interlude whilst we had the old horn salute, but yes, you bought this as a membership drive.
Yeah, so the idea was we hit a certain number of new members and then I would be cajoled into buying this. I had to find it. I ended up buying it from Facebook Marketplace for the grand total of £800. And yeah, then it was basically our kind of taxi staff car, picking the guys up from Heathrow and then going back to the Airbnb and then from the Airbnb
it was
to
the runabout
Goodwood every day. Yeah, basically.
It was the runabout, yeah.
I mean, there was 5 of us and a load of camera gear and luggage, so it was kind of absolutely perfect. I mean, it's not much to look at, but it does do the job. You know, it seats 7 and has a full boot as well. So in some ways it was, you know, the perfect tool for the job. But it needed a new battery. It's got a mystery electrical drain. So I had the day before Goodwood, I had to put a brand new battery on it. And it's sadly not much longer for this world because I put it in for its MOT. It didn't pass, but luckily it still has an existing MOT.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a 2.7, it's all Mercedes running gear basically. It's a 2.7 straight 5 diesel.
Well, it's a 2.7 litre and it's 2.7 tonnes.
They
wrote the numbers down for the car
heavy.
and just carried them on through. It's ridiculous.
It's one of the only cars that's actually banned from banger racing by name. In the rules, it's specifically excluded because of the weight.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe they actually blocked something for that reason.
Yeah,
but
when really, look at it, you want to destroy
you really
it.
want to get rid of
it.
it.
Be destroyed, yeah.
So, anyway, the rain is coming down heavier, so I'm actually going to have to run away, put the camera away, and hopefully we'll get an outro filmed shortly in front of everybody else. So thanks very much, Adrian, once again.
Thank you.
We'll do something in the future, no doubt.
We will, absolutely.
Probably without a Roidus.
Yeah, and without the rain.
Yes.
I can't imagine many Novas have survived this long without some serious work done to preserve them. I know 2 people with multiple Nova projects and they all had to do extensive rust repairs to get back to a workable chassis. I'm not actually sure how much this one has or hasn't had done, but if it's not had any, I would be extremely impressed. Because this one is in great condition, both inside and out. I've come close to buying a Mark II Sirocco on more than one occasion with a friend of mine as just a weekend classic to tinker on prior to starting all this car stuff on YouTube, and a supercharged ABF seems like an excellent route to go down if you want that car but a little bit more power. Sure, you could put a 20 valve turbo in there, but this just feels right, and given how light these cars are, I bet it's an absolute hoot. I've taken a bit of a guess with the figures here. If this is yours, let me know in the comments what it's actually running. I would love to know more. The doors on the Toyota Serra are by far its greatest feature. Obviously they come with compromises though. In the sun, what with being all glass everywhere, you're likely to just cook, but they were air conditioned as standard and did come with roof shade inserts to try and keep it out. And anything you need to do with an open window will be tricky given the diminutive size of it. But it's so worth it. There's such a great looking car that with that big dome canopy in the back, it's aged extremely well for what is now a 37-year-old design. This one is a Phase 3, of which there are only 1,550 made out of the 15 some odd thousand total, all for the Japanese domestic market, and you can spot a Phase 3 really easily, thanks to it being the only one with an exterior change made across the whole life of the Serra, a rear spoiler which also contained a third brake light. Bond bugs are often seen at shows and they always draw a crowd, but I doubt that as many are as well travelled as this one, which journeyed across the channel and all the way up into the Arctic Circle. The owner noted the entire journey, day by day, including miles, breakdowns and destinations on the canopy as he went along. The route charted through Dover to France, Belgium, stopping in the Netherlands and then Germany, through to Denmark, Sweden, up to Oslo in 5 days. And then after that, it was up to the North Cape, which, as the name suggests, is the northernmost point in Norway, and then back down to Tornio in Finland, back through Stockholm, Copenhagen, and eventually making it back to Wimborne, 21 days later, covering a grand total of 5,411 miles, with only a flat battery and a quick spot of welding required just inside the Arctic Circle to keep it going. We didn't get round nearly as much of the show as we would have liked, but we did talk to a lot of people, and that's really what the show is all about. That also meant that we missed a lot of the talks happening on the stage with the various guests, including Lawrie and Kitch, as well as Ian, Carly, Steph and Matt from Hubnut, iDriver Classic and Furious Driving respectively, who put this whole show on. Thanks so much to them for keeping this whole thing going, making this community event what it is, organising all of the guests to come down and do talks, and generally just making this community really nice to be a part of. Thanks everybody who came down and spoke to us as well. We'll try and turn up with one of our actual active projects next year. But even in our very modern Golf R, the variety of cars you get with a come one and come all made us feel right at home.
So thanks once again for joining us for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream. We've had that running all day today. You might have dropped in. It's just been kind of panning around the show generally. Nothing too exciting, but a really nice feel for what's been going on. If you haven't seen us before, do subscribe to the channel, like and comment down below what was your favourite car, whose channel have you seen before, and if you were here, what did you most enjoy about the show? Don't forget you can join us at patreon.com/PedalBox show where you can support us, and if you are a patron, you'll get discount at the merch store shop.pedalbox.show where you can buy t-shirts like this, hoodies, hats, and of course mugs and even more things. So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Check out some of the other projects that we've been working on at home, and we'll see you next time.